Hi, I'm Mara Webster with In Creative Company, and thank you so much for tuning into one of our talks today. We are a year-round talk series bringing you the best creative voices across film, television, theater, and entertainment. And today we are joined by Kale Culley, who's currently starring in the CW show Walker. And I wanted to start by talking a little bit about the audition process for this show for you, because you were so excited by this character and the prospect of playing him. But obviously, there's naturally also some nerves that come along with auditioning as well. And so I was curious how you personally tend to push past the nerves part and really just focus on the excitement when you step into an audition like this.
Honestly, I think my mind every time I go into an audition is just obviously I get nervous whenever I get into the building. I'm like, okay, my main thing is I don't want to mess up the lines. I want to make sure that all my emotions go through. I write notes on my script so that if I'm ever in the audition and sometimes nerves will get to you, man. So I look down and I'm like, okay, so do that note right there. It's gonna be fine. Then I just really look at the script and just be like, you know what? No, this is what I do. People they came here. They called me out to see me play this character. They want to see what I can bring to this character. So with that in mind, let's get in the mindset of the character and just go in and just do what I do.
Yeah. And with playing August, you already started immersing yourself in the idea of who he was and what his characteristics and traits were. So what were your biggest takeaways, even just when you first had those few sides for the audition scene?
Um, my biggest thing was I never really played like a very introverted character like August was, just because me personally, I'm definitely not an introvert. I'm very extroverted. I love talking to people. So that was my main thing. I was like, okay, so I'm gonna for 24 hours. I promised myself never to method act, but I did it. 24 hours. I'm just gonna completely close the walls around me very tight, and just get into the mindset of what it means to be introverted. And so I think my main thing was I was like, oh, this is really fun. Like I've never done this. This is great. Really just picking apart what I could get from the audition.
And part of that process with those 24 hours included journaling for you and
Yeah.
figuring out details like what's his favorite color, like who's his favorite family member, how does he feel about all of these people? How did that part of the process really help you? And is that something that you think you'll do again for other characters in the future?
Yeah, I mean, for really complex characters, because some of them I can just look at the sides and be like, so this is the type of character. I have everything. I'm just gonna now figure out what type of emotions this character wants to portray. But definitely, I still have that journal. Originally, the character's name was Arlo. So at the very top, it was like, what does it say? I had name, favorite color, food, favorite person, favorite song, I think. And then it was just Arlo at the top. Favorite color was yellow. Favorite food was mashed potatoes. Just stuff like that. So I think if the role is very intense, not intense, but very complex, I should say, then I could be like, okay, so I don't really understand it based off of looking at the script. So now I'm gonna go and try to get into the mindset of this character and just write out every single thing, because then that'll help me portray my emotions.
Yeah, and you were mentioning before how obviously he's a very introverted character, and if you think about the time that he spends outside, it's more just kind of observing and
Yeah,
watching the world around him.
yeah.
So how did you really think about that specific mindset, and how does that play into the way that you interact with other characters and scenes a lot on the show?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think my main thing was when I talk to people, just have in mind, because at the very beginning of the series, we were all very happy and all like expressive towards each other. But I think my main thing was, okay, so I do not want to like potentially hurt anybody after what happened, so I'm just gonna stay very soft, and very open minded to what everybody has to say. And I think spending time outside, because whenever I was doing the whole 24-hour thing, I was just outside. I was like, okay, so I'm going to do exactly what Arlo at the time, what he does, and I'm gonna walk outside and I'm gonna look at trees. I'm gonna describe how the air feels. I'm gonna describe what this tree looks like. I'm gonna just describe every little thing that I possibly can to see what he might enjoy. So I think that really helped. But I think that just kind of falls under the 24-hour kind of detox of myself and going into August.
And did you have much of an opportunity before you went into filming that first episode to have like table reads of the script and to have rehearsals and a lot of conversation with the cast? Or was it something where you had to dive in really quickly?
No, we actually had a table read before the episode, and everybody exchanged numbers. Jared actually started a group chat with the whole entire cast before the episode even started filming. So I was able to connect with everybody, get to know everybody, and in the group chat, we all have a bunch of fun. You know, now we poke fun at each other, and we all have like nicknames for each other. So that was a really, really smart move with Jared to start a group chat to just completely get to know everybody. But yeah, we had some time to get to know each other.
I thought it was so smart as well that even in the writing of the scripts, that one of your first scenes in the show is just everybody together having family night, having game night. So how did getting to film that scene really early on in the show really help you to figure out what that dynamic was with each of the individual family members? Because it's not just about his relationship with his dad, it's everybody around him.
Right. That was so much fun. We all just sat down. They were literally just filming us playing a board game all together. That's essentially what it was. But obviously being with somebody in person is different than texting and calling and stuff like that. So I'm really glad we were able to spend our first moments playing a board games together.
Yeah. And what's been the difference for you in taking on a character throughout a TV series where you know that you have the potential to play this character for several years and you don't necessarily have all of the answers and all of the background information on him. So you're filling in the gaps a lot more than you would on a film or a guest spot on a show.
Yeah. More time to grow. Growing is key for especially deep roles like this and just acting in general, just being able to grow and sit and simmer with the character. So I'm always like, oh, August would do this as opposed to this. And like, oh, I'm like in the complete mindset of him. So I think that he would go off and do this as opposed to this. And so just spending more time with the character is best for anything, for like line delivery, what his thoughts would be, what he does. So I think this is a really good opportunity to just let the character just let loose and just grow.
And from that experience, are there things that you've learned about him or started to really understand about him that you maybe didn't know about him at the beginning when you first started playing him already?
Yeah. Understanding his mindset of how he wants to just completely calm every situation down the best he can. And it's really fun because sometimes I'll make choices while filming a scene. I'm like, the typical August would try to diffuse the situation, but I want to see what he would do if he didn't diffuse the situation and just completely got into the argument with everybody else. So finding, and it's just like throwing somebody into something that there's like, all right, let's do it. I'm just going to run it. I'm not prepared for how I'm going to do this type of thing, but I'm just going to go in open-minded and just try it. And just saying, I'm going to try it. You'll find a lot of different, character choices that he would make that I wouldn't really have thought of before, just running it over through my head 1,000 times.
And in working with Jared on the show, I think you pointed out that he's been in well over 400 TV episodes at this point. So he's got such an amazing experience and that's been really great for you to be able to watch how he has conversations about his character, the way that he talks to the directors and the writers about it. How has that given you more confidence to have those types of conversations about August?
Seeing him just go around and talk and throw out all these different ideas has kind of helped me decide different ideas of what August might do as well. So I might go over and talk to the director and be like, hey, so I feel like he would, instead of do this, maybe let's do this real quick just for one take and see how that plays out. And Jared has given me a lot of tips on just little things like, he said there's this camera favoring, like if the camera, let's say the camera is over to the left side of me and I wanted to kind of favor the camera more, he said, try something where August wants to pick up an object and just kind of reminisce on this object real quick and try to reminisce it towards the camera just to see what it would look like and just kind of have to toy with something while having a conversation. So I'll just be like, all right, well, this isn't for me. I'm going to leave. And as opposed to just one-on-one, to just give it a different kind of feel to the scene.
Yeah. And it's been really interesting already to watch the growth and the shift and the change that you've played into August throughout these first few episodes of the show. And in particular, the first couple of episodes, it really feels like he has a mask up and he's trying to keep everything and all of his feelings and emotions inside because he's not sure how he feels about a lot of things yet. And so what was the difference for you in approaching those first couple of episodes versus where the character is at now?
Yeah. It also has to do with how Kale was whenever I was first joining, because obviously I was super nervous. Like, this is my first time meeting everybody. And so I guess I was not as comfortable, for lack of a better term, with what different decisions I could make. So obviously, and it also has to do with the script as well, because the first episode's August was completely like, all right, I'm just gonna cater towards everybody. I'm gonna make you happy. I want to make you happy. But these last couple episodes, we can see that in episode 5, he blew up on his dad, and just got really comfortable with how he was and decided, you know what, I've put up this wall for way too long. I'm gonna see what happens if I kind of break a brick and see, oh, well, this isn't that bad, actually. I kind of enjoy this, talking to people. So now I'm going to slowly start creeping out of that wall. And that was also how it was for me, because I was like, episode 1 and 2, okay, this is new. I'm kind of nervous. I'm going to get used to everything. Episode 3, I started gradually just becoming more and more comfortable with environment.
Yeah. I also wanted to ask about working with Violet Brunson, who plays your sister in the show, and the way that the two of you really have built out that rapport, because they have such unique experiences that they've shared together as siblings, going through not only the loss of their mom, but essentially the loss of their dad for a period of time.
Yeah. Yeah. Violet's fantastic. As soon as we met, we already had like a brotherly, sisterly bond, and we do now. I think, that's a good question. I would say figuring each other's subplot storyline out as well, and deciding, so this particular moment, how did that affect us now, and where is it going to affect us, or are we even going to let it affect us? And the main thing was just our characters bonding on screen as well, just because everything split up, so we have to kind of get comfortable again. So I think the main thing was just, are we going to let these moments affect future events, and how are they going to affect them?
Mm-hmm. And I know that obviously you wouldn't be able to share any of the details about the plot line with their mom, because so much of that is obviously still to come in future episodes.
Mm-hmm.
But was it useful to you to have conversations with the creative team and with the writers about more of what that backstory is and more of that family history beyond what we've seen in the script so far? And were they able to give you a lot of that information for your performance?
Definitely. It's always good having context before a scene and after a scene, because say I'm filming a scene that I was super chill and relaxed, but say before the scene there was a fight that broke out and I was a little nervous and I'm still shaken up. So if you were to cut from that fight scene to August being chill, you'd be like, wait, what? Did he just forget about that, or is he just like completely past it? So if I were to know what happened before the scene, then I could start the scene off a little bit shaken up, but then kind of start getting back to my cool. So I think just knowing all the information, I could portray different emotions to a wide variety, I guess.
Yeah. And we've already seen a lot of details of places that their mom exists for them. You know, I remember the scene when August goes down to get those photos developed in the lab, and that's a place that his mom used to go. And
Yeah.
and so I was curious about like the really small detailed ways and
Yeah.
places that she exists for August as a character that you managed to create in the show.
The main thing is the camera. So I bring this up a lot, and it's so Jared, Cordell has his poker chip and the little poker box that his wife was going to give him on his birthday, I think it was. And he has that poker chip. August has the camera. August has the camera development place where his mom was. So I think we're going to just pick out little bits and pieces of connections that August can make to his mom.
Yeah. And did you spend a lot of time even yourself just like grabbing the camera and going around and thinking about how August sees the world through that lens?
Yeah. Yeah. So on episode 2, when August was on the ranch, and it had a flashback of him and his mom looking out into the field. I spent some time. I think I spent like 5 to 10 minutes before the scene, just like, okay, okay, you're August. Okay, this camera's your mom's. And look through this camera and have and just feel what it was like to actually hold this camera with my mom and figure it out for the first time. So I just spent 10 minutes just simmering all these different emotions that August would feel looking out into this field and holding what's left of his mom, essentially. And so I spent about 10 minutes doing that, and then as soon as we yelled action, completely just got into the character and just rolled along with whatever I thought he would do.
I also want to talk a little bit about August's relationship with his grandparents, because it's a very different dynamic than just, oh, I see my grandparents every few weeks, or we go over there on Sunday for lunch. They've essentially become another parental figure to him. So how did you all figure out what that dynamic was going to be and what the unique aspects of it would be?
Yeah, I think because of Cordell's lack of being there, he and Stella had to kind of make Liam, Bonham, and Abilene parental figures, because mom wasn't there anymore. Dad just left for however long, and we have to kind of get used to everybody. So I think it was just a matter of figuring out also our acting styles as well. And we also brought our chemistry into that as well, because Maureen, and I just call her Maureen, Molly and Mitch and Keegan. I mean, they're all so great. Mitch and Molly are like parental mentors to me and Violet on set, and just we also brought that into it, just the love that everybody shares with each other, and just bringing all that into the show.
Yeah. And it's so interesting watching the dynamic that you and Jared create with that father-son relationship, because obviously it seems like August finds it really difficult to trust him because he doesn't know
Yeah,
if his dad's actually going to stay the entire time. And
right.
so how did the two of you have conversations and figure out the specificity of that in the dynamic where August really wants to let him back into his life and he wants to trust him, but at the same time, he's putting some self-preservation barriers up because
Right.
he just doesn't know?
Yeah, we had some conversations about that. Especially, I think the main thing is right before we're about to film, I'm like, all right, so let's break down the scene really quick. Let's see what's going on in the scene. Let's take in consideration what happened in the past, and how that will affect us in the future as well. And so I think we just go into this scene thinking August really wants his dad to just be there 100%, but there's always going to be some sort of wall there that's like, this wall is him maybe not staying for a long period of time, and maybe he might go off, and I'm just kind of scared of that. So I really want to pull him in tight, but I don't want to lose him again. So it's kind of like a 50-50 of, I love you, but I kind of don't trust you at the moment.
Yeah. And there's that really lovely moment in one of the early episodes where August is working on a table and he's so excited to show it to his dad. Because,
Yeah,
at the end of the day, he has what everybody wants, which is just, he wants what everybody wants, which is just that approval from his parents and for
yeah.
his dad to really see him and to want to stick around. What were some of the other things that came into the show for you where you really looked at it as this is August just trying to win the approval of his dad right now?
Definitely the talk they had in episode 2. They were sitting outside of the barn house that Abilene's character built, and I was handing him the poker chips. I was like, we just had kind of an argument, but maybe this box of chips will help him come back to this family. That was one of them. Obviously, the table in episode 1. Burning Duke in episode 5. Duke is dead. Maybe he won't ever go back to that again and just stay here with us. And there in upcoming episodes, there are some more of those occurrences, but those are the main 3 that I can think of off the top of my head.
Yeah, I thought the Duke episode was so good at exploring all of the complexities of their
Yeah.
relationship and everything that you were just describing between them. And wanted to talk a little bit about just filming those first scenes where August finds that box of things and sees a picture of his dad with a woman who's not his mom, and how you really, you gave a really great internalized performance that just captured so many layers of everything that he's feeling and all of his fears potentially coming true. And so I just wanted to ask you about the journey of really finding a lot of those nuances within filming that scene in that moment.
Thank you. Yeah. whenever I was reading the script before we started filming, I was like, okay, so August, he doesn't care about, maybe they were just friends, maybe they were just on a mission together. All he cares about is mom's not here. Who is this? So just with that in mind, I was like, I'm not even going to be nice to my dad right now. I'm just going to straight up say, okay, you lied to us once again. Who is this girl in this photo right here? And do you guys have a relationship like you and mom did? And so I think with that in mind, I was kind of building up to the whole me yelling at him and confronting him actually whenever he was undercover. But beforehand, I was like, okay, so I'm going to act nice in front of him, but I'm also going to drop subtle hints just to see if I can get it out of him because I know he's not going to tell me at the moment. So I'm just going to drop little sprinkles and hints of, yeah, well, that girl in the photo, she looks real happy. You want to tell me who that is? And after that didn't work, I was like, all right, we're just going to get out of the car. I'm just going to yell at him right now, see if I can get him out of him. And that's my mindset going into those scenes.
Yeah. And with all of the different aspects of who August is, what are the parts of who he is as a character that you're excited to continue exploring the most, that you love playing?
Definitely I just want to see him grow. I want to see him grow and come out of his shell completely. That's going to take a while for him to kind of do that, but I know he's gonna grow into that. I think that's the main thing. Getting into he's getting himself into a lot of drama right now. I can tell you that. But just seeing different types of ways to how he can diffuse certain situations and if he can even diffuse his own internal situations and grow on top of that.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for taking time. I know that you're in the middle of production and filming more episodes for us at the moment. So thank you for having this conversation with us today.
Yeah, thank you for having me on this call.